The late Rabbi Jonathan Sacks said in one of the videos he actually made with us here at JTV that, quote, "mindless Judaism isn't good for the soul." Now, I don't think the importance of this phrase can be overstated because, unfortunately, for some Jewish people, myself included sometimes, whether it's Torah learning or performing mitzvot, Jewish rituals, they can become a little bit, well, mindless. We just do them without giving much thought. But if we would only stop to understand a bit more deeply what we are performing or reading or praying, we will find depth of spiritual meaning interwoven within all of Jewish practice. And this is no less true than in the prayer services, where we can be so focused on just getting through the prayers that we don't actually take the time to stop, to understand and really hear the beauty and wisdom within the text that we read. I think it's a real problem. And so I wanted to look at one of those prayers that anyone who goes to a synagogue or is familiar with a Jewish service will be familiar with. And yet, despite our familiarity, so many of us don't actually give a second thought to thinking about the meaning behind the words that we're saying. The text that I'm talking about, Adon Olam, a Jewish hymn whose origins are unclear but probably date back over 1,000 years ago. It's one of the first things that we're meant to say every morning, and many people know it also as the final song that we sing in shul in synagogue on a Shabbat morning, often sung in haste while we're folding up our prayer books and talis and thinking about what we're going to have for lunch. But believe it or not, I actually find Adon Olam to be an extremely emotional song that can even move me to tears. For me, it beautifully portrays the message of Judaism, and I'm particularly grateful to Rabbi David Foreman's Rosh Hashanah video series, which first opened my eyes to understanding Adon Olam, rather than just saying it by rote. And I'll try to explain, and if you can bear with me, we'll play at the end one of my favourite musical renditions of Adon Olam by the awesome South African Jewish artist and friend, Chani G. No, not yet. And by the way, when it comes to music, I have to say I'm extremely fussy, so Chani, take it as a big compliment that I like this. All right, let's read the text. Adon Olam Hashem Alach B'terem Kol Yitzin Ivra. It starts by talking about God and who we believe God to be, the master of the universe, who reigned before anything was created. Le'eis nasa b'chefsa kol azay melech shema nikra. And when it was finished according to his will, then he was proclaimed king. In one sentence, the verse tells us who we believe God is and what his purpose is in creating the world. It's telling us God existed before the entire world was created, that God is the cause of creation, and his purpose in creation was nothing more than for humans to recognize him as the sovereign force in the universe and to have a relationship with him. That's what kingship is, recognizing God as king, as sovereign. And when our world shall be no more, in majesty he shall still reign. Having told us the purpose of creation, the text now takes us all the way to the end of history. Once every last star has collapsed and once the physical world is no more, God will still reign, for he is infinite and eternal. Indeed, it goes on to say, V'hu haya, v'hu hoveh, v'hu yihyeh, b'sifara. God was, God is, and God will be, in splendor and majesty. Fun fact, by the way, when you lay on top of each other the Hebrew words for was, is, and will be, you get the name of God, because God is eternity. God is one, there is no second, and he cannot be compared to anything. When Judaism speaks of God being one, we don't just mean he's not second. We're saying he is the one foundation upon which all of existence rests. And he can't be compared to anything. He's not like X or like Y. He's sort of like nothing, because we can't really conceive or analogize anything beyond our universe. Without beginning or end, he is the power and dominion. God transcends space and time. He always was here, and he is the only power. Now, stop and ask yourself at this point, how do I feel right now? You kind of feel in awe of this God, like he's all supreme and powerful and a little distant, remote, impossible to really comprehend or relate to. But this is where we're taken into the second part, because we have an astonishing turning point in the text, a turning point that defines and distinguishes Judaism as a revolutionary and transformative voice in the history of the human conversation. Listen to the next words. V'hu Eli. And this God that we've been talking about, this awesome, all-powerful God who is the source of everything, this God is my God. While God may seem awesome beyond our understanding and impossible to relate to, if we define him as the source of all existence, that means he is the source of yours and my existence too. That means he's the source of my life, powering and navigating and guiding each and every moment. The very thing that makes God seem exceptionally lofty also makes him exceptionally close. V'chai go'ali, he is my living redeemer. He's the source of everything, so he's guiding me through all the ups and downs of my life. He's there for me when I'm in trouble. V'tzur chavli, he is my rock, my foundation stone. God isn't just the foundation stone of the universe, but he's my personal foundation stone when I'm in trouble. Be'ez sarah, whenever I find myself in times of trouble, he can help me break out of that. V'hu nisi, he is my banner. I hold him up in times of triumph and thank him. I revel in my association with him. Umanosli, and in times that are bad, I find refuge in him. He's there in my triumphs. He's there in my agony. Manos kosi biyomek ra, he is my portion all the time. Whenever I call to him, I will find him there for me. This, I believe, is the transformational idea that Avraham brought to the world. Not just that there is a God, a source of creation, but there's a God who cares for us, guiding each of our lives, who sees our pain, who's the source of our blessings. The Torah is indeed the story of a God who says to a downtrodden and enslaved and overlooked people, Pokad pokadati, I've seen your suffering, and I will redeem you and bring you to a promised land. It's a story that inspired countless other liberation movements throughout history, telling them that God cares about us. And in a sense now, the final few verses put together the first part and the second part. Because it's one thing to say there's a master of the world, and it's one thing to say he's a personal God who cares about you and me. But the truth is that these ideas are one and the same. And so therefore the final part of Adon Olam concludes that I can live my life with that faith, with that confidence and with that peace. Biyado, in his hand, of kid ruchi, I entrust my soul. Be'ez ishan, every night when I go to sleep. Va'ira, and I wake up. The song's sensitizing us to the fact that from the moment we wake up to the moment we go back to sleep and then wake up again, God's there guiding us, blessing us with another day. And it's also saying something else fascinating. Every single day I engage in an incredible act of faith, almost without thinking about it. I willingly go to sleep. It's strange, if you think about it, the act of going to sleep is actually an act of letting go. You know that moment your head's on your pillow, you're conscious, you're holding on, slowly you begin to drift off. Some have even argued that perhaps one possible explanation for some types of insomnia is that it's rooted in an existential fear. Can I let myself go? Where is my soul going? But as the song then declares, lo and behold, each day God vindicates my trust in him by restoring my soul. And now the author jumps to death. The nightly ritual gives me courage to really let go when demanded of me. I need to trust he'll be there on the other side when I finally let both my soul and my body go. So, Biyado of Kid Ruchi, Be'ez Hisham Va'ira, in his hand I will place my soul every night when I go to sleep. And in the morning I'll wake up, and I'm vindicated. But one day, Imruchi, along with my soul, not just will it I entrust to God, Gaviasi, but along with that my body too. Not only can I face life with confidence, but I can face death too with confidence, because there too God, who transcends the physical world, will be with me. And so it concludes, Adonai li, my master, he is mine, velo ira, and I shall not fear. Part 1, the God who is inconceivable, sovereign, powerful, master of all. Part 2, that God is my God. Part 3, how it makes a difference to me every single day of my life, because that God, that mighty God, he is my God. That's why I can live my life with confidence. That's why I can go to sleep in peace. That's why I can trust him through it all. Adon Olam, it's not just a nice song. It's the rallying call and creed of the Jewish people.
Adon Olam, Hashem Allah, בטרם כל יציר נברא, להתנסה ובצורך אזי מלך שמו נקרא אדון עולם השם עליו בטרם כל יציר נברא ונשא בחפצו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא ואחרי גדלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא עובד והוא יהיה בתפארה אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא ונשא בחפצו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא והוא אחד ואין שני להמשילו להכבירה בלי ראשית בלי תכלית ולא העוז והמזרח אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא ונשא בחפצו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא
Mangilele, mangivuka, ithemba lam linguye. Ithemba lam linguye. Ithemba lam linguye. Yayinguye emandulo isembuye nanamhla. Ithemba lam linguye. Ithemba lam linguye.
אדון עולם השם עליו בטרם כל יציר נברא ונשא בחפצו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא אדון עולם השם עליו בטרם כל יציר נברא ונשא בחפצו כל אזי אזי מלך שמו
To stay up to date with JTV content, click subscribe here if you're on YouTube and hit the alarm bell. And if you're on Facebook, hit the like button and under following, click see first. If you enjoy watching JTV content and want to help us continue to grow, please consider making a donation to us by clicking here.